Hello, welcome back. As I promised, I would continue the story of this little boy. And no, this is not an autobiography. This is a tale of three people thrusted into enthralling circumstances only to, well, truth be told, only to continue to live each day one day at a time in faith. Having said that, though, to know what is going to happen to these characters, it's better to understand what has already happened. And since there is a baby at the center of this story, then it's probably fair to explain the parents of this baby. The parents of this baby, which could not even dream to be explained in 10 minutes, but I'll try. Both these parents have lived full lives. Both these parents had no idea they would be meeting each other, and both these parents love this baby. That's kind of like the beginning bullet points. And by the way, welcome to another episode of Sunsets in Temecula. I just felt I would just jump right in. And if you are looking for some kind of climactic event, it should be shared that I am treating these as a stream of consciousness, journal entry opportunity for me to commune with myself and others. An opportunity to let my mind be documented and preserved for myself, others, as well as my son, specifically. It's a beautiful backdrop. Another sunset in Temecula. Another view from the front porch. And just look how that sun escapes out of those clouds. Amazing, right? Just amazing. So these two parents met, and I think that before we can explain why they met, it should be noted that they met because they were looking for something that they were not finding in their lives. And I should have said lives, but each individual's life was missing something, and almost impossible to explain. Speaking for the father, I can tell you that what was missing on a daily basis was my son. That sounds maybe unexpected, but as I said, this is purely stream of consciousness, and that truly is what my heart tells me. That's what was missing, was my son. And then from what the mother explains what was missing was her son. So there's another thing that these two people have in common. For some reason, they both felt that they were going to have a child. I can tell you that the father tragically experienced loss earlier that year, or the year of 2018, and tragically admits the loss of a child due to abortion, due to an aborted birth, and then God insisted on that life. And I know this to be true because I only was able to meet the mother by God's will. And I know that to be true because I was only at the place that I could meet the mother on a desire to see the power of the people at work, and that was a direct result of bearing witness to the tragedy of George Floyd's death, and how Los Angeles, California, and many cities across the United States of America reacted. The violence, the social unrest, the destruction of public property. It was so hard to watch that I can tell you that the father was compelled to not only put his life on the line for the city of LA, not only did he have an experience, and he went with a message to the mayor of Los Angeles and a clear desire to deliver this message, a clear strategy given to him by God, and the result that only God could have known to happen, which was a meeting with the mayor of Los Angeles, a conversation with the mayor of Los Angeles. That small act, in a matter of 90 seconds, demonstrated the power of God to the man. The man had expected nothing to happen. So the simple fact that something did happen, that his life was important enough for that to happen, demonstrates God's will. And ever since then, the man has believed how God communicates directly to him without doubt and without fear, which gives the man great courage and compels him to follow his instincts almost blindly sometimes. Consequently, again, after the death of George Floyd, there was a lot of public demonstrating, a lot of people in the streets, and the man learned of a group, an activist group called Child Lives Matter, and they have a lot of very radical views, for lack of a better word, but fascinating, and the people that march for these issues are fascinating. And the man learned of a march that would happen in his neighborhood, and his experience with God allowed him to seek God at this event, wanted to find God at this event as well. And God was there big time, and so big time. Because not only was God there, not only did he see people, praising out to God, but he saw the mother, the woman who would soon be the mother, of his child, the child that he knew was missing in his life, but he just didn't know how it would happen. And simultaneously, that woman is meeting the man who would provide her with the child that she had already written down on a vision board in her bedroom. This is not just a made-up circumstance. This isn't just interesting layers to a story to add fun detail, to add rich detail. No, this is our reality. Those details make our random chance encounter feel so much less random and feel so much less chance that we were not at all surprised. I mean, I take that back because I was surprised, but only because she explained to me that she didn't believe that she could have a child, she could get pregnant. So the fact that I got her pregnant, well, it was, you have to understand, again, there's details that I'm not sharing, like how we went on our first date and we were so enamored with each other, we couldn't separate. After our first date, after our first meal together, we couldn't separate until we were unified in one act of primitive love, which was sex. And once we were unified, we even looked at each other in the face and we said, let's make a baby. You want to make a baby? You want to put a baby in that stomach? And even though she knew her situation and she walked around already with a lot of fear and doubt of that possibility happening, she looked me in the eye and said, yeah, let's do it. She had no doubt. She was not afraid to try. And sure enough, she was pregnant. After our first encounter, and I'm sure that she would debate exactly when we conceived, but I know the date that we met, and I know her ovulation cycle, and at the risk of that being more information than expected, and like I said, this is just a stream of consciousness. I'm here just to unload my thoughts, and she and I, we work hard every day to continue to get along because we took our first date and had a kid with it. I don't know a lot of people who do that. I haven't met a lot of people who do that. And I would say God was working that night. God was there. I would say that. I have a lot of faith that she would say that. It is that feeling in my heart that allows me to believe that our child is not simply our child, because he is our child, but he is certainly more than our child. And not only do I believe he is this, one of the sons of God, but I believe that he is here to begin the age of prophecy again and be an actual prophet for God. That's what I believe my son is going to be. Now, I might sound like a person who is having a delusion of grandeur, but then you would have to ask yourself, how many different things had to be in play? how many different circumstances had to lead up to these two parents meeting. And then since the day they met, almost realizing that they almost have nothing in common. That on paper they would probably never swipe right. Or left, for that matter. I don't even know what direction these apps swipe anymore. I think the point is that it would have been a rejected profile. And yet, every day, I know that I find reasons to love her. And I think every day she finds reasons to love me. And every single minute we find reasons to love Elijah, who is going to be an amazing, amazing person. And an amazing baby so far, amazing kid, and an amazing person. And, you know, that was an amazing sunset, and you have been an amazing audience. I think this sunset has come to an end, and I think that I have certainly continued the story of that little boy who now exists in the world by the will of God, to conduct God's will, to conduct God's work. And so if you're interested in God and you want to see how he is working through his next round of prophets, then stay tuned.